Do you remember being in school and being asked to make like a 5-year plan and like set goals for your future and hating every second of it and dying a little bit inside? This video is for you. I've never made and achieved a single goal in my life. I've done things, I've made changes in my life, I've grown as a person, but my doing things and making changes and growing has never ever been motivated by a single goal that I have concretely thought of, wrote down, and made a plan for how to achieve it. Sometimes I feel like my lack of goal setting means that I'm holding myself back from my true potential. Maybe I could actually be achieving more things and making more changes and growing more if only I could set some dang goals. Like sometimes I feel super inadequate and even broken for not being able to set goals and follow through with them. But as I get older and more stubborn that the approaches that I take to living my life are fine actually, I'm starting to question, what if I'm not broken? What if goal setting is? First of all, let's back it up a bit. When people talk about goals, they generally mean two different things: conscious goals or subconscious goals. When I say conscious goals, these are the things we consciously think of as goals: New Year's resolutions, 5-year plans, SMART goals, and so on. But sometimes when people talk about goals, they're framing basically every human desire as a goal. Like this.
Every human behavior is to produce an end. So like you and I right now, we're both actually trying to create an outcome. We're having a conversation which might be just the outcome. It's for us to learn from each other.
I'm going to refer to these as subconscious goals. Let's analyze conscious goals first, but I'll get back to the subconscious goals later, I promise. There are endless productivity gurus and success gurus who will tell you that you are holding yourself back from your true potential. And for you to really, truly achieve what you want in life, you need to dream bigger and set goals.
Goal setting I call the master skill of success. With it, everything is possible. Without it, nothing is possible.
Don't just set vague goals like be happier or make more money. Set specific, measurable, time-bound goals. Actually, you know what? If you really want to know how to make goals that you can really achieve, then you should buy my book. Oh, if you don't like this book, then try one of these. Or perhaps this one. Or this one. Or maybe one of these. Or maybe one of these ones. Or this one. Or this one. These books, including the one that fell on the floor, are just a very small selection from the oeuvre of the prolific author, speaker, and success expert, Brian Tracy. Brian also wrote this book, which is called Goals, which is very on topic, but unfortunately it didn't arrive from the library in time for me to include it in the video. Sorry.
That one almost dropped on my head.
I'm glad it didn't. Oh my god, almost kills my boyfriend on camera.
It shatters my glasses into my eyes.
Sorry, can't finish filming this video, I have to go to the ER. From my very shallow, uncharitable reading of Brian, he appears to have made a living off of spouting opinions as if they were facts, which is like most other productivity gurus or success experts or YouTubers. He makes vague, often sloppy gestures towards more rigorous research or philosophy here and there to lend an air of credibility to his ideas.
Aristotle said that 95% of everything you do is the result of habit.
Only the top 10% of people are absolutely clear about what they really, really want.
Only 3% of adults have clear, written, measurable, time-bounded goals and plans to achieve them. And by every statistic, these 3% accomplish 10 times as much as people with no goals at all. This simple technique has taken people from rags to riches all over the world for at least 100 years. Pick your most important task and start on it immediately, and then discipline yourself to stay with it until it's complete.
Mostly his work is like a bundle of rules that he's made up, packaged and repackaged into 750 videos, over 80 books, and probably like hundreds, if not thousands, of talks and seminars and stuff like that.
In my brand new webinar, I'm going to teach you my proven 12-step goal setting method.
Now, goal setting has 7 steps.
I set goals every single day. Develop the habit of daily goal setting. Now, daily goal setting is quite simple. Get yourself a spiral notebook. Make a list for each day of all the goals, the little goals you're going to accomplish.
Actually write the goal down physically on paper.
Keep a journal and write down your goals on a regular basis. When you go to sleep at night, think about your goals for the coming day. When you're driving through the day, think about your goals. When you're talking to other people, think about your goals. All successful people and all wealthy people think about their goals most of the time. Your ultimate success in life cannot wait and neither should you. Spots are limited for my webinar, so if you want to change your future, be sure to enter your information now.
He calls himself the most listened to audio author on personal and business success in the world today. And I don't know what that means, but it sounds impressive, I guess. Brian says, should I be calling him like Mr. Tracy? Do you think he seemed like a, please, call me Brian, or like a, that's Mr. Tracy to you? I don't know. Regardless, I think that Daddy Tracy is full of shit. He does not point to any official studies or surveys or any data to prove his very exaggerated claims. All of his evidence is anecdotal, and anecdotal evidence that I have gathered proves him wrong. If all successful and wealthy people think about their goals most of the time, why can I think of a ton of examples off the top of my head of successful, wealthy people who seem to have not known what the fuck they were doing? I remember reading that one of my favorite directors, Academy Award winner Sir David Lean, just went into filmmaking because he was terrible at everything else. Sophia Nygaard has compared her channel's success to a wild horse. Simply Nailogical just really liked doing nail art. Bong Joon-ho has credited the success of Parasite to him just being a weirdo and doing what he always did. In other words, I don't think these successful people's achievements were ever listed on a vision board or in a 5-year plan. They didn't make goals for success. They just did stuff they enjoyed doing, and success just kind of happened to happen to them. But hey, maybe we should listen to Mr. Tracy. After all, he's written over 80 books. Quantity over quality, am I right, lads? This is like a TikTok content creator method of authorship pre-TikTok. He's releasing one book every 6 hours. Brian is just over here like throwing books at the wall like spaghetti to see what sticks. This is absurd. This is too many books. Although, to give him credit, there are some things about goals that he points to that aren't just things that he pulled out of his ass, that are based in research and science, like specific and measurable or SMART goals. This type of goal setting has been rigorously studied by real sciencey people to have some proven benefits. But let's investigate what this research says about goals exactly. Do you think he gives his friends autographed copies of his own books?
Guaranteed.
Oh my god. I don't want to bag on him too hard. If you like him, that's fine. I just think he's kind of full of shit. I think he's one of the many people who says oh, I can tell you how to get rich, but the way that he's getting rich is telling you how to get rich, which is such a scam. Real Science Part 1, Locke and Latham's Goal Setting Theory. In the late 1970s, a couple of psychologists hung out with some loggers. They were testing the hypothesis, if managers set specific goals, will this increase productivity? To test this, they selected a group of 20 supervisors and trained 10 of them to set goals for their workers. The other 10 were told that psychologists were studying how absenteeism and injuries affected productivity. They measured the two groups for 12 weeks and found that the group that set goals achieved higher productivity and lower absenteeism than the non-goal group. Other similar studies that they and other researchers conducted at the time had similar results, so they concluded setting goals increases productivity. For a bit of context and to appease any supreme nitpickers or experts in management theory who might be watching, Locke and Latham did not magically think of this in a vacuum. They drew from lots of prior thinking from a diverse array of white men in suits. From Locke and Latham's findings, we get some golden rules of goal setting, that your goals must be specific and measurable, and challenging yet reachable. Thus spawned the inspiration for SMART goals and endless other intricate goal-setting rituals and checklists for what constitutes a good goal. But Locke and Latham and many other researchers of goal setting are operating in a very specific context, employee management. Locke and Latham have demonstrated that goal setting can increase productivity. It can increase the amount of logs logged, the amount of words typed, the amount of keys punched by an employee who is managed by a manager. But this finding does not prove that goal setting will guarantee anything else. It doesn't guarantee an increase in the quality of the work, nor an increase in the quality of your life, nor an increase in your income, nor your level of success. So there are some ways that applying these very specific contextual benefits of goal setting done by managers for employees starts to fall apart when we try to apply it to our personal life goals or paths. First of all, success in life is not as easily measurable as logs logged, words typed, keys punched, and so on. Sure, some measures of success are kind of measurable, like money, and admittedly when people say that someone is successful, what they really mean is they have made lots of money, but a lot of people will tell you to set goals and encourage you to goal set in all areas of your life, not just in the amount of money that you make, but in areas that are way harder to really measure your success in, like making friends or dating. Or to put it a different way, a lot of people's goal in life is just a vibe. What does it mean to set a measurable goal to just vibe? Similarly, Locke and Latham emphasize the importance of setting challenging but reachable goals, but it's hard to determine what is challenging but reachable in the context of your own life. Often, setting specific goals encourages us to overreach. Like, sometimes I think that getting up at 6 a.m. every day or exercising regularly is a completely reasonable and reachable demand to place on myself, especially since lots of other people seem to do it just fine. But so far, every time I have consciously set goals to do these things, I have failed. Either I am a weak-ass bitch, or more charitably, these goals were just not reachable for me. And similarly to that, it can be really difficult for us to implement one super key recommendation from Locke and Latham's paper to be a good manager. Locke and Latham end their paper by saying,
"Used incorrectly, goal setting may cause rather than solve problems. Like any other management tool, goal setting works only when combined with good managerial judgment."
Although it is sometimes possible to have a sober, objective view of yourself to ensure that you're giving yourself regular feedback to judge what's reasonable and what's not reasonable, often it is really fucking hard. So I wonder if some cases, telling people to just goal set without also coaching self-management skills might, per Locke and Latham's warning here, cause rather than solve problems for you. Overall, I just want to ask, why are we using tools from business management psychology to try to shape the course of our lives? Why are we being told to treat ourselves like employees, to constantly be optimizing and increasing our productivity? Hot take, goal setting is internalized capitalism. I was hoping at this point in the video I could be all smug and huffy and congratulate myself for cracking open this conspiracy, and then we could all move on to part 2 where I get to talk about subconscious goals. Unfortunately, not all goal setting and not all goal setting research is about optimizing our productivity. Cold take, to counteract the hot take, not all goal setting is internalized capitalism. A lot of it is actually about trying to find ways for us to improve life satisfaction and achieve personal growth, which I think are perfectly fine things to aspire to. So let's delve into what that goal setting research has to say. Real Science Part 2. Maybe goals good? So as I said, this other genre of goal setting research focuses on how goal setting can help us improve life satisfaction, achieve personal growth, become happier, good stuff like that. And interestingly, they don't really focus on SMART or specific /achievable time-bound Locke and Latham style goal setting. Sometimes they do, but usually the key focus is on coaching participants to make goals that are aligned with their values. The studies mostly have findings that say something like, when people have goals that align with their values, they're more likely to make progress on them and generally have better well-being. This makes perfect sense to me. Just try to do stuff you enjoy and is important to you, and you'll probably do it and you'll feel happier doing it. To his credit, Brian Tracy does also kind of dispense this genre of goal setting advice, telling you to prioritize some goals over others.
Ask yourself, once you have your list for the day, if I could only do one thing on this list before I was called out of town for a month, what one activity would I want to be sure to get completed? And put a circle around that and start on that activity immediately, first thing. And then discipline yourself to work nonstop until you complete that one activity.
So he's not totally full of shit. There's just a lot of shit in there mixed in with some gems. You know, making diamonds from peanut butter? That's the image I'm imagining right now. You're welcome. Although I'm not going to completely let Brian off the hook here, these studies still don't substantiate his absurd claim that all successful people set goals, and the implication that you not goal setting is what is holding you back from becoming a millionaire. These studies link goal setting to increased well-being or happiness or life satisfaction, not income or career success. And although making business or workplace goals SMART to increase employee productivity might be good business practice, these studies don't really prove to me that it's valuable for your personal goals to be SMART. The goal of your goals doesn't have to be to increase your productivity, it can just help you frame your desires. If you do choose to make goals, just make sure that they matter to you. Some people might argue that nobody really chooses to make goals. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes when people talk about goals, they're really framing every single human desire as a goal. Like in the opening of an essay from this book on goal-directed behavior.
Every day, from the time we wake up in the morning until the time we go to bed, goals influence our thoughts, feelings, and actions. We as organisms are fundamentally goal-driven and structure our social worlds around these desires and concerns.
It turns out we are all already thinking about our goals most of the time. And it turns out I am full of shit also. When I said I have never made and achieved a goal in my life, that was a lie. I am setting and achieving goals all the time. If we are all already always making goals, maybe a different way to think of conscious goal setting is for it to be a way to bring those subconscious goals into our conscious mind, to take a closer look at the goals that we are subconsciously trying to achieve. Like, this plant is older than I am. It's a bonsai from my grandfather. He died when I was 11, and I never learned Cantonese or Mandarin, and his English was not the greatest, so there was always a language barrier. I didn't really know him very well. I know from my mom that he was quiet and gentle. I remember him making me laugh by making faces at me across the dinner table with Dao Miu in his teeth. This bonsai is looking a little sad right now, partially because it is infected with scale. Once something has scale on it, it is very, very difficult to get rid of. I would like to get rid of the scale on this bonsai. You might say I have a goal to get rid of the scale on this bonsai, but I wonder what subconscious goals I might be trying to meet by wanting to get rid of the scale. Like, maybe what I'm really trying to do is to connect with my grandfather. And if I'm trying to connect with my grandfather, maybe what I'm really trying to do is understand the people who raised and shaped me, and to understand who I am, and to feel a sense of place, duty, and belonging. Or maybe what I'm really trying to do is just get Asian points. Like, as a mixed kid, I never really feel Chinese enough, but maybe by taking care of this bonsai and having like an Asian hobby, then I will earn more Asian points, and eventually I will earn enough of them to feel genuinely Chinese. Or maybe I just want to remove it because it's gross and it's satisfying to wipe it off. I don't really know what my real goal is here, but regardless, maybe by poking around in my brain and trying to become more aware of why I might care about this bonsai is a good thing. If cleaning the scale off of this bonsai is, say, like a way for me to connect with my dead grandfather, then maybe I will actually be motivated to actually properly wage war on them and like actually get rid of them. Or becoming more aware of my subconscious goals could mean that I can like question and let go of some of these goals. Like, maybe it's pointless to go around trying to get Asian points to prove that I'm really Chinese. Either I'm Chinese or I'm not, and me caring for a bonsai doesn't really change that. I hope. Conscious goal setting doesn't have to focus on achievements and success. Instead, it can be a tool to exercise some curiosity, to lift the lid of your brain and rummage around in there, to see what you are prioritizing and deprioritizing, and check if you agree with your decisions or not. Like, I often have to check in with myself around my goals for this channel. You might have noticed that my uploads are not super consistent, and a big part of that is because I have a different other goal to not re-enter burnout. So when I've gotten sick, or when I've been facing a ton of other deadlines, or when things have fallen apart in my personal life, then I haven't been pushing myself to make videos for this channel. But as a result, my goal of having a successful YouTube channel has been deprioritized, which I think is the right choice sometimes, but don't get me wrong, the guilt of not regularly uploading still gets to me. Sometimes I wish I didn't have this alternate goal of avoiding burnout. I wish I could just be so driven to do YouTube that I would just run myself to the ground to make it big. And then, after I am wildly successful, then I'm allowed to have a well-timed meltdown for a couple months, maybe like even a year. I can like take time off while also raking in that sweet, sweet passive income, and then I can come back with some like highly successful video about why I left YouTube. Maybe some of you watching have had thoughts like this as well, and while we are on the subject, I want to remind you and remind myself that grinding it out to the point where you burn out is a huge gamble. It does not guarantee that you will achieve whatever punishing goal that you set out for yourself. It does not guarantee that you'll get 1 million subscribers. The only thing it really guarantees is that eventually you will be exhausted. And being exhausted feels real bad. Whereas being easier on yourself, setting less ambitious deadlines, giving yourself time to rest and actually enjoy life is a much more reliable way to guarantee that you'll most likely not burn out, and that you'll have spent at least some of your time on this planet doing stuff that is worthwhile to you, stuff that matters to you. So maybe I'm choosing the right option here. I sure hope so. Back to the actual video, I was talking about the value of being conscious about your subconscious goal setting. Maybe by making your subconscious goals concrete and conscious, you can spend your time doing stuff that actually aligns with your values, doing stuff that actually matters to you. Maybe goal setting is actually really good for me and I should suck it up and just make some goals already. But there is still one more fundamental remaining problem here. Goal setting still makes me feel like trash. Goal setting encourages me to think of myself in a deficiency mindset, to dip into the when I finally mind, when I can't really be happy with myself until I achieve this or that goal, until I make a certain amount of money. Like, sure, there are probably ways to goal set without thinking that I'm currently a piece of trash, but the thing is, if I'm telling myself that I'm trying to get better in some way, then fundamentally I have to think that my current state is somehow worse, that I'm currently somehow incomplete, or in the words of success gurus, not meeting my full potential. But what does it even mean for me to be incomplete or not meeting my full potential? I am who I am today. What do these other unchosen possibilities really matter? One paper I read ended with this observation.
Despite strenuous efforts by the researchers in both studies to recruit to the study, people seemed, for no obvious reason, unwilling to commit to it.
The researchers are very practical about the potential implications here, saying,
no matter how effective an intervention is, it is not effective at all if no one participates in it.
Even if goal setting would improve my life, it doesn't really matter if I'm not able to bring myself to do it. There's no requirement for us to set goals, really. So even if doing some concrete goal setting or improving our abilities to goal set would improve our mental well-being if we actually got around to doing it, if we never do it, does it matter? Like, if only a few already highly motivated people actually do the work of goal setting, does it matter if the rest of us don't? Oh my god, I folded this paper so much and it's impossible. I feel like the hydraulic press in that one video that has been in my watch later for fucking 3 years. I've reached saturation point with the folds. It's just like one solid brick of wood at this point. I've recreated the tree. Can you see how thick it is? It's chonky. That's a chonky lat right there. We're gonna start on a new piece of paper. If I've never bothered to make intricate prescriptive goals for myself, then it doesn't really matter that a potential different me could have made those goals and could have achieved more. That potential different me doesn't exist. I do. So why should I fret that I'm not them? Like, it doesn't make sense to say that we haven't achieved our full potential. We are always already complete. We exist in the bodies and lives that we have now, and that's it. I feel way more confident and settled when I shift into this mindset that I am already enough. I'm already complete. I don't have to make or achieve any goals, really. I can just learn and grow with circumstance and take life as it comes. Oh my god, I ripped this one to shreds. We'll get one, I swear. This is not to say that I won't continue to grow and change, but I don't have to frame this inevitable change as something I have to strive for or reach towards. I can trust my subconscious brain to figure it out. I can trust context to change and my future self to be able to adapt. And I can approach the future coming nearer with a mindset of curiosity and delight, instead of dread. I made it. I can wonder with openness, what's gonna happen next? What do I generally want to do with my time? What are some things that I would like to do? What opportunities might open to me? What choices might I be able to make in the future? And what opportunities are actually already open to me right now? Are you comfortable?
Never.
Origami's very sensual. There's a lot of rubbing involved.
4 minutes ago I nearly cried and stopped for good.
Who knew making a dollar bill penguin could destroy your soul?
It's because the money is fake. This stuff's literally meant to go. It's
I wonder
not.
what it's made of.
It's paper. When will it end?
In 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I can do math. What's 11 minus 8?
3. So you
3
had
minutes.
it right twice and you corrected yourself incorrectly twice.
My arithmetic is really bad. Straight A's in math class. Flunked arithmetic. I didn't flunk. I just didn't try on a test once. Got a little speech.
What are we doing?
The head.
No.
Fuck.
Yeah, see?
Just do it. How to fold origami penguin? Just fucking do it.
I just split the top of its head open.
It already looks like a penguin. Does it need to be perfect?
Yeah.
No. It can sit!
Got racks on racks on racks.
Look. Wow. WikiHow.com told me that this was the safest way to burn paper inside, so we're gonna try it. I think that there's this worry that if we don't consciously goal set, then we'll procrastinate our lives away. That's definitely the anxiety expressed by and provoked by productivity gurus. But if you like me can't use a lighter, if you like me seem to inevitably fail at every single goal that you set, that doesn't mean that you aren't achieving anything. And if you don't set conscious goals for yourself, that doesn't mean that you won't achieve anything in the future. You can probably just keep feeling it out. You'll know what to do. And I opened up a window to create a breeze, and it's putting out that's probably good, it's very safe. You don't have to make a 5-year plan and rush yourself into the future. You've never wasted your potential. If you could have done it by now, you would have. The choices that you made in the past were the best that you could make at the time. and you'll continue to make the best choices that you can given the circumstances that you'll find yourself in. Unfortunately, although I do think that Brian Tracy is kind of full of shit, I do also agree with him. It is all about routine, and we do achieve what we think about most of the time. I just think that what we're thinking about and what we're achieving and what we're doing is usually fine. And if you, like me, feel the pressure to succeed, then maybe think about what other subconscious goals you're trying to meet with the goal of success. My eyes are watering so much from the smoke, but I'm gonna press on. And think about whether there might be an easier, more reliable way to get that need met. Oh, good lord. Light some shit on fire inside, I said. It'll be a great idea and very cinematic, I said. You don't have to think about your goals most of the time. You can think about, like, honestly, you can think about whatever you want, but if you want to shift your thinking here a little bit, then you can think about the routines that you do. Think about why you do them and why they're important to you and how they might help you. And try to, like, cherish and enjoy them. You don't have to do your routines for the sake of achieving your goals. You can do your routines for the sake of doing your routines. And maybe by being really present in those routines that you do and the habits that you hold, you might discover that you've already achieved some of the goals that you thought you were still striving towards. Am I gonna do one of the penguins? I love these, but the point is to burn it, so. You don't have to achieve your goals before you make your life better. You don't have to succeed. You're already here now, and you can start making your life better today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you'd like. It does help to see those numbers go up. Leave a comment. I always appreciate reading all of the really thoughtful and sweet things that people say. Even the critical stuff is like so thoughtful. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks so much. Okay, I want to show you my favorite dollar bill trick. If you put it down, then it's frowning, and if you put it up, then it's smiling. Oh, hey. Oh, hey. All right. It gives me joy.